Sunderland up next for Jose Mourinho's Manchester United. We'll start with the news. This is David Moyes' first return to Old Trafford. A round of applause from Adam. Let's start with...
Is that what we do?
No, well, I don't know. We're going to ask Jay's Manchester reported. Jay, how do you expect Moyes to be received at Old Trafford?
I think it's going to be a bit of an anticlimax, much like the David Moyes era. I think it might be a bit underwhelming. I don't think there's I know he was a bit of a disaster, but I don't think there's a lot of hatred for him because he was just out of his depth. He shouldn't have got the job. It wasn't his fault. He wasn't up to the job. And I think there may be a few fans out there that are still a little bit angry, but I think by and large, most fans won't be that bothered. He's not going to get a hero's welcome, obviously, but I think it might be a bit of a muted reception, shall we say. I don't think anyone's that fussed. It's not like he's roundly, universally hated. He was just someone who wasn't up to the job, shouldn't have got the job, and was rightly sacked.
Well, Andy, famously, you said you thought this is a man who deserves time. He's got a 7-year contract. Let's, stand by him, give him a chance. You said there's a lot of people saying some very foolish things, but this is a guy who knows what he's doing. You said he was a real cool guy in Manchester. What do you think about him returning to Old Trafford?
Just another manager. He was put there on a technicality, as I said at the time. And he wasn't for him. He was out of his depth. He was on a hiding to nothing. Whoever came in, and he's just he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to say. That night, I blew me rag. I lost the plot. We aspired to be like Man City. I think a lot of Man United fans won't forget that. And he won't. There'll be no booing towards him, but there'll be no cheering either.
Sure. You say he got the job on a technicality. Can you remember who it was? How did he get that job? Who was it that helped him get it?
He gave it him.
I was really hoping you were going to say it was a legend. So I'm just trying to get some of your classics out. Howson, Andy Tate, David Moyes back at Old Trafford at Christmas. What do we make of that? Do we care?
Like Andy said, it's just another manager. I think he'll probably be given a really half-hearted sort of reception from those who are there that early to see him walk out for the first time. I don't think anyone really cares. I don't think anyone's got any major animosity to the guy. The job was just too big for him, and I think every interview you saw that. He looked like a rabbit in the headlights every single time he spoke. He looked like he was just terrified. He never wanted the job, did he? He never said he wanted the job. He said Fergie came round to his house and said, "You're the United manager," and he didn't say, "Awesome." He went, "Okay." So I think that just sums up. He's a guy that never applied for a job, that he just got given. And he probably wasn't qualified now with the hindsight. And as Andy said, saying things like we aspire to be like Liverpool and City, he's never going to endear you to the Old Trafford faithful.
No, Moyes, before you talked about your mirror, Moyes coming back, does that show how far we've come? Mourinho's now in charge, we've got Pogba, Ibrahimovic. So since Moyes left, have we come a long way? Or does the fact that David Moyes is coming back and he's with Sunderland and United is still outside of the top four, is perhaps this very much not mission complete since he came?
I think it shows you why we shouldn't have sacked him.
You might get some abuse for that.
Only joking.
Delete your account.
David Moyes coming back here. I don't think anyone cares. Nobody cares.
Nobody
cares. No one's going to boo him. No one's going to boo him. No one's going to cheer him. No one's asked. But what thing I'm scared of is him coming to Old Trafford and turning into Fergie and getting 3 points because I can... Oh, man.
Has David Moyes ever got points against a top club? He couldn't
do it. When he was at Everton, he used to beat us.
The league, didn't it?
The only time Fellaini had a blinder at Old Trafford.
Hey guys, what do angry mice send each other at Christmas?
Go on.
These are the most ghetto scales in the world.
Cross-mouse cards? Because they're angry mice, so they're like a cross-mouse... rubbish.
The most ghetto crackers in the world. I got a set of scales.
That's a mirror.
Not coming handy.
Right, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, can he keep his form going? Andy, Ibra, can he keep doing it?
If he's fit and he feels he wants to play football, let him do it. Teddy Sheringham was doing it up till he was 41, still knocking him in. So let the guy play.
Different kind of players though, no?
I'd say so. Jay, do you have any concerns over the fact that a lot of our season rests on the shoulders of a 35-year-old?
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to be worried, innit? He had a little dry spell, didn't he? I think he went 5 games without a goal. And we thought, is it catching up with him? But since then he's been firing him in. But you don't sort of want to rely on a 35-year-old. But I think we've got the strength now. We've got other players, got other options. I've been saying all along that I'd like to see Rashford given a chance up front at some point. Maybe not now, when Ibrahimovic is in such a rich vein of form, but maybe in the cup competitions. Martial also can play down the middle. And, if, it might sound crackers, but Rooney can play as a striker. So there is options there. I think at the moment, though, when your striker is banging in goals the way that Ibra is, you've just got to keep playing him. So I would keep playing him, and then eventually, maybe when the games are coming a bit more thick and fast, think about taking him out. But I'd definitely play him this weekend.
Okay, Howson, keep playing him, or rest him. We know he's going to stay for another year. Do you expect this to happen next year? Just a constant
I think
season
Zlatan
of
himself
Zlatan.
is in phenomenal shape. And you see, when everyone went off to the internationals, Zlatan was posting pictures of himself in training mats after getting off the treadmill. I think he's a guy that prides himself on being in phenomenal shape. And his game doesn't rely on him having pace. His game doesn't rely on real agility. He's a battering ram. He's a guy that can hold the ball up, and he's a guy that can bring others into the game. Someone just mentioned Teddy Sheringham doing it late on into his career. And they're an entirely different footballer, but also very similar in certain aspects of the way that they play the game, in that they don't rely on pace. And what they're relying on is their quality of touch and their mind. And Zlatan's got that, and Zlatan's got the ability to bring others in. And I do think we're not perfect up front, and we're not as fluid as I'd like to be in that final three, because Zlatan's leading the line. And I think he'd be excellent with a partner. I just don't think we're going to see a partner with him. I think if you had a partner, then would be absolutely terrifying. I just don't really see us having that in us at all. Maybe you could play Zlatan in a 10 and play someone a bit quicker, like a Rashford or a Martial off him. That'd be really interesting to see, because I think he operates in between those lines. He doesn't really operate on the last man. He's certainly not a Hernandez. He's certainly not a Michael Owen sort of poacher style of striker. But he's absolutely killing it, and he looks made for the Premier League. I only wish we'd have seen him 10 years ago.
Okay, Adam, you like Zlatan, don't you?
I love him, I do. And you know what I love the most about him? He's a proper bastard. A proper one. He hurts people when,
born out of wedlock.
Those snide little shoulder challenges just a little bit late, or when he's falling on Coleman and making sure he digs his knees into him and all that stuff. I love that. He's a proper player that, when the going gets tough, he can drag our team together. We've lacked a player like that for a long, long time. And Wayne Rooney, for all he's done for the club, last couple of years, he hasn't been performing. So as a captain, when you expect someone to pull us out of the he hasn't been able to, because he's not been performing himself. But we've got people like Zlatan, people like Pogba, that can drag the team together now. And I think Zlatan's gonna have a huge effect on the players. And I think he'll have an effect also when he's gone. I think the likes of Rashford and Martial will learn an awful lot from him.
I think you could be right.
Top bloke.
Andy, give us your starting 11 whilst I enjoy this festive mince pie.
I would like the same team like what we had against Spurs with Mkhitaryan back, and hopefully we could see some more of him and get some goals on the board for this Boxing Day, because our goal take is very low, and come Champions League places that could be quite vital.
Yeah. Who are you dropping to bring Mkhitaryan in?
I have to drop Rooney, put Mkhitaryan in if he's fit.
Okay. Jay, what about you?
We were speaking last time I was on about Michael Carrick and how, we sort of rely on him, we want him to play every game. And if there is a game you was going to drop him for, I think Sunderland at home would probably be the one. So I know it's a bit risky because we are so reliant on him, but I think I probably would take that chance and rest him for this game, just because I think there's more important games coming up after the new year where we will rely on him. We will need him firing on all cylinders. So I'd probably go at the back, and I'd stick with the centre-back partnership we've got of Rowe and Jones, because, despite Rowe's tackling, they are getting the clean sheets and they are helping us win matches. Right back, if Tony V is available, I'll put him in. I don't know what's happening with Luke Shaw. Is he available? What's happening? Is he just a forgotten man? I'd like to see him be given a chance, to be honest with you. And I think Sunderland, because they are weak opposition, it'd be a good chance for him to come back into the side. In midfield, I'd go with Herrera. I'd probably give Daley Blind a chance in midfield. I was talking about this last time I was on. I'd like to see him tried in a defensive midfield position. So I'd go with Herrera, Pogba and Blind as midfield three. Like Andy just said, if Mkhitaryan's fit, I'd play him. It was such a shame he got injured because he was in the rich vein of form. So if he can come straight into the squad, into the team, I'd put him, Ibrahimovic, and I'd probably go with Martial as well. So that'd be my front three.
Awesome. Howson, what would you do?
I like Jay's idea of using Blind in midfield to see if we've got the Carrick replacement at the club before we start looking abroad for it, which we're undoubtedly going to do once Carrick calls it a day. Big Dave in net, I'd go with Tony Valencia in my right back. Left back, I'm going to play Daley Blind there though, in this instance, because I'm going to stick with that midfield three. I think it's been magic since he happened upon it. My centre half partnership though, I'm going to sack Phil Jones. and I'm going to bring Bailly back if he's available. I'm going to have Bailly and Rowe. I'm going to see how absolutely mental they can be together. That might be the craziest thing ever. It might really work. So let's find out against Sunderland. In front of them, Michael Carrick alongside Herrera and Pogba, because I think that's our best midfield three. I don't think anyone can have any doubts about that. I would love to see Blind tried there. I would love to see Fosu Mensah given some sort of opportunity. But at the moment, we just need to get into that top four before we even think about messing about rotating and freshening that side up. Up front, if he's available, Mkhitaryan's got to play. He's been the difference maker, I think. And I think that will really tell by the end of the season. Zlatan's in the number 9 spot because he's absolutely killing it at the moment. And I want to see Anthony Martial. I thought when we played him, when he brought him back after he'd been out for a little bit and Mkhitaryan was in the team, I thought that really created space for Anthony Martial. And I'd love to see that happen again. Because while you're dealing with Pogba and you're dealing with Mkhitaryan and Zlatan's dragging you all over the pitch, that's going to leave gaps, especially this Sunderland defence. It's going to leave gaps. I think Anthony Martial's quick enough and good enough to exploit those gaps.
Okay, Adam, a few weeks ago, I asked the guys on the show, Howson was on, can't remember who else was, who United's most important attacking player was. Because we were talking about all the options United have in their attacking positions. And everybody on the show on that occasion answered straight away Juan Mata, a man who no longer gets in the team. And this is only a matter of weeks, and nobody today has even mentioned his name or thought about putting him in their team. What do you think? Should he be playing? Should he not be playing? If he's not playing, should he be here?
See, I think it's difficult to play Mata when we play a 4-3-3 because his preferred position is in a number 10. Whenever he plays on a wider role, I think Mkhitaryan and Martial are more suited to that because of the speed that they've got in their game. So it's difficult to play Mata in a 4-3-3. Where he comes useful, I think, will be in games like this against Sunderland, where we can drop Carrick and play another extra midfielder, so maybe play a 4-2-3-1 and put Mata in the number 10 position, because it is very difficult, but you can't argue as well. Mkhitaryan deserves to start on the right ahead of him. Martial deserves to play on the left ahead of him. So I don't think Mata will be thinking, I'm not in favour or anything like that. I think if we play a number 10, he starts, he has to start. Now, he can always play that deeper midfield role, but that's not his natural role. So I think unless we're playing a number 10, he's not going to get many chances, which is unfortunate because I think he's arguably been our best player this year. Okay. So, yeah, a bit upsetting for Mata, but like the lad said, you bring Mkhitaryan straight back in. But I would play both of them, Mickey, Mata and Martial behind Zlatan on Sunday. Monday.
Let's talk about Sunderland. Andy.
They've won 3 out of the last 5 and they literally dragged themselves back into they were dead and buried 5 games ago and they've dragged themselves back into it now.
Okay. Jay, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Sunderland, it is one of the weaker sides. I mean, they got a big result against Watford recently, which was like a must-win game. But the thing with games like this, you know, we've seen it in the past. I think it was Newcastle last season. They were on a terrible run. They came to Old Trafford and they got a 0-0. And I think if you don't get an early goal, the crowd can get a bit restless and it can the opposition can grow in confidence. And we know that if Sunderland got a 0-0 at Old Trafford or a 1-1 or whatever, any sort of draw or a point, or any result, it'd give them a massive boost. And Moyes, for all his faults, will know that as well. So I just think it's important we sort of get at them early, don't let them settle, sort of put them under pressure, because they are a weak side. You look at their side now. You know, you mentioned, you know, we're relying on a 35-year-old striker. We've got other options. They're relying on Defoe, I think he's 33, 34, and they haven't got many other options. I think they've got like Victor Anachibi, who scored a few goals. I think Van Aanholt's their third top scorer with 3 goals. So they are a weaker side. You would expect United to be able to dominate them and go on a bit of a route. But I think it is crucial we don't take it too lightly. Get at them early, put them under pressure, and don't, you know, turn it into one of those games where 70 odd minutes you're looking at making a substitution because it's still 0-0.
Okay, Howson, final thoughts. Sunderland. Anything to worry about, or is it all about United?
Totally agree with what Jay's saying. This is the sort of game where you would expect, especially with a manager like David Moyes, who thrives in this underdog sort of situation, possibly why he didn't really suit being at Manchester United. He's going to be telling those lads, listen, a result is going to kick on for the rest of the season. Show how good you are against these. This is the big game and all the rest of it. And he's right, because that can give them the confidence that they can go to other clubs and beat them. We know Old Trafford's like going to Wembley for all of these smaller teams. And we know that this is the sort of game. We've seen Sunderland relegated one season and celebrate a 0-0 draw to stop us winning the league, like they'd won everything, including X Factor. This is the sort of game where we are definitely likely to slip up, because these are terrible. We're in a decent run of form. It's an old manager coming back. All the cliches that you want to throw at it. We have to go out there, like Jay said, get an early goal and put 3, 4 or 5 past them, because we're good enough and they're bad enough.
Yeah, you're positive.
Okay, great. Adam McCullough,
Yeah.
what do you believe the score will be at the
sorry.
end of this particular fixture?
I think Mourinho. I don't think Mourinho particularly likes David Moyes because David Moyes took his job. So I think Mourinho wants to absolutely smash these lot today. Did you hear him talking about little managers can't do this and that, like Pulis and like Moyes and all that?
Yeah.
I think he proper has a chip on his shoulder with David Moyes. So I've got a feeling he's going to put them boys out there like it's a cup final and get him to absolutely annihilate these lot. I'm going 4-0 United.
4-0, smash
I've got a bad feeling Moyes is going to turn into Fergie. Don't you do it, you bastard.
Nah. Andy, what do you think the score will be?
3-0 for United.
Jay?
I'm going to go with a bit of a conservative 2-0 to United.
Stephen Howson?
4-1.
All the scores, lots of goals. I like this. I'll go 5-0. It's Christmas. Right, guys, let us know what you think. That's a snow machine. Let us know what you think about all the things we've been discussing on the show. Get it in the comments below. And from all of us at Full Time Devils, have a very Merry Christmas.
Bye.